I mean, it's supposedly waterproof, right? Because there's only one way to find out. We're here at NAB in Las Vegas. Came down from Canada. And before we roll into the footage today, I'm going to talk about a few tech things. So I'm going to roll those timestamps right now, so that way you don't gotta sit through a vlog if you don't want to. And then we're going to roll the intro. Greg, we should have woken up earlier. It's so hot. Oh, it feels amazing. Get in. I've had this phone for like a couple months now, and I've always kind of wondered how waterproof it was. If it dies, it'll be a slow death. Good morning, Caleb. Got a towel? Hey. Thanks, dude. Yo, friend, proper good morning now from Vegas. We're heading over to the shore floor. Yeah, that's like next level vlogging right there. So far this year, I've been having a ton more fun on the show floor because I'm not waiting to find out if I won a massive contest or not. Kind of exploring around, checking out some booths. I'm mainly here just to connect with people. But this morning I actually have a quick little presentation about adventure filmmaking over at the Aperture booth. It's gonna be a good start to the day. So I just wrapped up my talk. I think it went great. So Aputure actually helped comp part of my trip to get me down there. So a huge thank you to those guys. Appreciate helping make this trip happen for me. Otherwise, it would have been a very expensive personal expense. And I'll take any opportunity from any company that will let me share my passion for this stuff in a way that just like lets me communicate, that just go out and make stuff. So the Atomos guys made a big mistake of inviting me up to their booth. Now I'm just mobbing around in their massive castle. Every year they always go nuts. Their booth is just incredible.
Hey. Follow for follow.
Yeah,
follow for follow.
That's what's happening right here. Devin.
Yes.
Can you tease me the concept of what you're working on? Can you say anything?
Green Goblin. I've already said too much.
There's a few people lined up for some free stuff.
Okay, team, so let's talk some tech. Coming into the show, I had a list of 3 things I was hoping would be announced or I could see in person. I really wanted to see a full frame camera with a flip out LCD screen, incredible battery life, shooting in 4K and better codecs, but not yet apparently. I also wanted to see a DJI Mavic Pro 2 or some sort of folding Phantom Pro so we could get better image quality out of folding drones. But apparently, we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer to see those too. But what did come true was getting to see what all the fuss was about with ProRes RAW. And there's also some other announcements which caught me completely off guard. So let's start with my favorite tech piece from the show, the new Ninja 5 from Atomos.
So I'm here with Jeremy, the CEO of Atomos.
How you doing, man?
Doing fantastic. It's really exciting because last year at this event they announced the Shogun Inferno, which could do 4K, 60, 10-bit, amazing quality 4K footage. But the Shogun Inferno is a little big for some of the adventure stuff I do. So I'm really excited about this new recorder that they've got. Jeremy, tell me about it, man.
It's the Ninja 5. So you get 1,000 nits, so
Right.
10 stops of dynamic range of HDR,
Right.
wonderfulness, brightness, and then we get half the power for the recordings.
So you get a really bright monitor, you can actually see outside. So it's just a killer monitor right out of the gate.
Yeah, correct.
It's got HDR monitoring features so that way you can actually see if you're capturing the data you want to be capturing.
Yep,
And then it can actually capture the data.
correct. And we teamed up with Apple to do it. How cool is that?
That's really cool.
It is, it was fun.
You know, a small little company from California working with big shots from Australia.
They can capture it into ProRes,
Yeah.
DNX, and is actually capable of ProRes RAW also.
Which is wild. So we need camera manufacturers to actually start giving us RAW over HDMI and stop holding out on us.
Correct. Hashtag give me RAW.
I've been a huge fan of the Small HD Focus, another 5-inch monitor that's used for on-camera shooting, but this little guy does all that and more for a very similar price point. I'll need to make a full video about what makes this thing so great in the future when I can actually get my hands and test one in the field. But more importantly, one of the big things I wanted to see was ProRes RAW in action. This new recording format is set up to change the future of camera recording codecs and bring it to the masses. And again, this topic deserves an entire video on its own, but what Apple has done with its update to ProRes is keep the same editing-friendly properties we've come to love with normal ProRes, but give you far more control of the data your camera can actually see when you're shooting. I got to see this demonstrated firsthand from some of the engineers at Apple, and it truly seems to be a promising future for capture format technology. Atomos at the show released free updates to all their recorders, making them ProRes RAW capable. And now I just need to get my hands on a camera that actually outputs RAW so I can test it for myself. Next up, at the Aperture booth, we got some impressive iterations on their various products. They released an update to my favorite light, the 120D, making it brighter, more portable, better connectors, and better build quality. They came out with a host of new lighting modifiers, a couple tiny lights, and also an update which might actually be my favorite from them, which is a Light Dome 2, which is far more portable and foldable and just way better for collapsing and resetting up and no more fussing around with rods. Man, I'm excited for this. They also announced their debut RGB panel. Now, the panel is beautiful, but the mind-blowing bit to me is they had this special device that can collect various light and color data from the world around us and then map it to the light panel. So you could hypothetically record a fireplace and then map it to the light and use this to be a fireplace light. Or maybe you use this panel in a documentary situation and you need to match the horrible color shifts in lights in a natural situation. And you can now do that with this new color picker device thingy from Aputure.
Hey, wait a minute. This is Leftcoast. I just subscribed. He made me subscribe to you. I know who you are.
What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
I want to see a magic trick right here. Let's see the magic trick.
All right, you ready?
Let's do it. I'm ready for
All
this.
right, watch. We got the, what is this? The two of hearts. Here, blow on it. Two of spades. You just take it, you shake it, and it goes right back.
And lastly was a new pocket cinema camera from Blackmagic. I personally just wished they had announced this last year. I would have loved if we had more 4K 60 frames per second shooting cameras last year, but hey, they finally brought the well-anticipated and well-demanded update to the pocket cinema camera. I mean, I loved the original pocket cinema camera and what it stood for, and the updates they've made to it make it better in pretty much every single way. It's got a bigger sensor, better battery life, and better codecs. You all know I love shooting 4K 60 frames per second. And this camera does that directly in ProRes to internal storage or out to a hard drive. A massive back display and dual ISO coming out from a micro four thirds sensor that you can adapt to use almost any lens. I would love to see a flip out display, as I rely heavily on that when shooting my various B-roll and outdoor projects. But I understand that they wanted to keep it simple. I think in the coming months and years, we will see a lot of short films, indie projects, and even features shot on this little beast.
My initial thoughts are great. They updated it because people were asking for it. And now it's just one of those things of like, I actually want to use it before I actually give any opinions. Just like every other camera video I make, it's like, I don't really know what it's going to be like until I use it. And that's just one of those things. Cool, great to see another camera. I'll know when I use it. Ran into Sean.
NAB 2018, Las Vegas. It's exciting.
So Sean, what is one piece of advice you could give someone who hasn't started yet, who's trying to figure out, do I do vlogs, do I do tutorials, what do I do?
I think one of the biggest questions we have to ask ourselves is how do you get discovered when nobody knows you yet? And I think if you start with vlogging, it's kind of a tough thing to start with because there's a lot of good vloggers out there. A lot of people are subscribed to 5 to 10 of them, and you need to come up with something unique to get noticed there. That's why I like to recommend actually starting with some kind of value type videos. Do searchable topics that will resonate with your target audience, and then maybe if you want to vlog as well, maybe do like Tech Tuesday and then vlog on Fridays or something. Like, at least mix it up so there's a way to get discovered as well as share your art creativity with something like a vlog. But yeah, your stuff's amazing. I really appreciate your storytelling ability, your filmmaking ability. I got a lot to learn from you as well.
Okay, take care, son. Peace.
So distracted by the level of sheen Mr. Clean happening right now.
Well, you guys know who Caleb is, but getting it to actually chat face to face, learn more about what he's doing, what he's working on in the future. It's just, I appreciate the openness. I just appreciate the openness, man.
It's very gracious of you. Thank you.
Because I'm like trying to figure out how to make this YouTube thing work with like my own courses, and there's a lot going on and it's hard to manage it all. But it's encouraging just being face to face and like seeing that it's a real human behind it. He's not a total jerk or something like that. He's actually relatable and he's doing it.
With YouTube, the beauty of it is there's so many people there that people who want to be your audience, they'll eventually find you.
Right.
So you just got to keep doing what you're all about. I don't want to be that guy who's just be yourself, but it's really true. Just do what you're passionate about or else you'll quit.
Pleasure to meet you on the show floor.
Absolutely, dude.
Still going to some dinners and hangouts tonight, but this is last day for me on the show floor. I don't know if I could do more than 2 days, but it's so fun just meeting people, hanging out, and we gotta go get some food.
Is this your favorite song?